Where do you find God? Almost sounds like a loaded question, doesn't it? I mean, if God was someone you could find, wouldn't everyone be out searching? Well, rather than looking for something elusive, like a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, I reckon it's more about learning to recognise the way God is already present to us in our everyday lives. I'm Lizzie Oakes, and this is Where Do You Find God? My guest today is broadcaster Sela Alo. He's part of the morning wake-up team on Life FM. Talofa, Sela.
Talofa, Lizzie. You know, it's always nice when I get to hang out with you.
Oh, thanks, bro.
You're a calming soul.
Wow, I don't know if everyone would describe me as that.
Oh, but when I'm with you, when we have these chats, you're a calming soul.
Okay, in this moment,
Yeah.
I received that. Hey, so we're going to jump straight into it.
Yeah.
The scripture that we're sort of basing this whole thing around is out of Acts chapter 17, verse 27, and it says, God intended that they would seek him and perhaps reach out for him and find him, though he is not far from each one of us. So based on that scripture, I'm going to ask you, Sela.
Yeah.
Where do you find God?
Man, you told me this, we were going to have this chat last week.
Yeah?
And honestly, over the weekend, it just kept popping in and out of my mind about what it is that we're talking about today. So can I throw this back at you? So when I think about finding God, there's a couple of things that come to mind because God is everything and God is everywhere, right? But I don't want to give you that cliche answer. God, in the first instance, for me is joy and happiness. And when I look at my family, I see joy and happiness. When I see my wife and my kids, I see joy and happiness, and that equals God.
Wow.
In the same token, though, it's not always happiness in our lives, right?
No.
There's sadness and there's disappointment. So I find God in the peace that I have through the disappointment.
Wow. Okay, you're going to have to unpack that a bit more for me. The peace that you find in the disappointment, you find God. That's good.
Because in life, you're going to get disappointed. You're going to get held back. You're going to get rocks thrown at you. Not metaphorically, but you know what I mean, right? There's disappointment in life, and there's sadness, and there's grief, and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And you have to process that, and you have to unpack that. But when you do, and you come to some sort of peace, and it takes a while, and it is a process. You're not going to deny the fact that you go through that stuff. You have to go through that stuff. But when you come to a peace around it, and you have to make yourself, you got to force yourself into thinking that God is in here somewhere.
Yeah.
Right? And when you come to that realization and that there's a peace inside you, that's where God is. But it takes a little bit.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
He doesn't take the storm away, right?
No.
He is the peace in the storm.
Yeah. And you've got to, what's the words I'm looking for here? Oh, did I make that clear?
I'm enjoying what you're telling me.
Yeah. So he's definitely in the joy and the happiness. He's right here between you and me, right? The Bible declares when two or more are gathered, God's right in the middle, right? And I know he's here. He's always around when I'm talking to you, actually. I can feel that. But it can't be all roses, and it's not always sunshine.
It ain't.
Yeah.
But he never promised us that, right?
No, he didn't promise us that. No, but he gave us the tools to be able to manage it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's to seek him. If you're asking me, and there's another one I want to add to this. So when I'm actually wanting to find God and wanting God to talk back to me, so those moments that I've just explained in the peace that you get through disappointment and the joy and happiness, those are blessings, right? But when I want God to talk back to me once I've found him, music.
Okay.
Yeah. So in my car, when I'm praying, that's one thing. But then when the music's on, and I'm blessed and privileged, like you, I know that you are, you feel this all the time. We're surrounded by a radio station that only plays Christian music. So when I hear the lyrics to a song, they're really empowering and really hopeful. And that's where I hear God talking back to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So can I ask, what sort of things does he say to you?
Hard enough. He gives me that sense of peace to know that
so it's a sense of his presence.
An overwhelming sense of his presence. If I lock in, there's an overwhelming sense of his presence. There's a undeniable notion that he's not far away. You know, if only I and I use this all the time when I'm speaking on here myself, that I just have to look around and he's in my corner. I just have to look down at my feet and he's shadowing my footsteps. It takes a lot to get to that place, Lizzie. You know, I'm not perfect, man. I'm broken. I'm a broken soul. But when I'm intentional, man, he's not far away. He's right there. He always has been.
Yeah. So he's always there. He's that peaceful God.
Yeah.
But tell me more about him. That God, you find him there. He's peaceful. What else about him?
He's exciting. He's got a plan for me. And I need to trust in that. See, this is the test of my faith as well. You know, like, it's only going to happen if my faith is firm. And my faith is consistent. Is it always firm? I'd say no, if I was to be totally honest with you, because I waver. You know, I know he's always there.
Yeah.
And it just needs to be firm.
Does it? Or can he be firm for you?
Yeah, absolutely. He can be firm for me.
You know,
but I've got to open up my heart to that all the time.
Oh, that's a key, isn't it?
Yeah.
Opening up your heart.
Yeah.
How can you encounter God unless you open your heart?
Yeah. And this is what I mean about when you go through the lows and the disappointment. The last thing you want to do is open up your heart.
True.
You know?
Leave me alone.
Well, this is it, right? Because you need to process whatever's happening to you. But once you open up your heart and you let him in, there is this peace that comes over you. And hey, you mentioned it before, the storms don't go away.
No.
You know, the unfortunate times don't not happen. But yeah, if you open up your heart, he's there.
How does that feel? You were mentioning earlier how the joy, the love, you know, for your wife and your children, like being a dad and knowing that life, you do get buffeted by storms, knowing as a father of a household that you can turn to God and his peace for you and your family. What does that feel like?
Oh, man, that's so good. I'm so blessed that I'm able to not only lean into God's peace, but that my family want to receive it at the same time. You know, it's a harder road when it's one way.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But when there's two or more who are leaning into the same peace, it makes things so much easier, and you receive a whole lot more. Now, I'm not saying that, hey, listen, when I open up my heart to receive God and to empty out God to my family, they've got to be kind of on the same page. And sometimes, for kids anyway, you know, you've got a young son. Sometimes it's about navigating how to land there too.
It sounds to me like you're talking about that finding God, you have to be open-hearted, but also to have those good relationships with the people around you that matter the most, you've got to be open-hearted to them as well, right?
Yeah, because you're a reflection of Christ, right? So in order for you to be able to receive God and find that peace in yourself and know that God's working in you, you want to be able to reflect to other people so they know what's up with, even if it's somebody who doesn't know you, right? And I think that's more important to the people who don't know you, because they might say, what's up with this dude? What's up with this dude? There's something a little bit different about this person. Wonder what it is. And I think we have a responsibility in sharing God with other people who may not necessarily know who he is. Did I digress there a little bit?
No.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Sela, so good to chat with you today. Thank you for being on Where Do You Find God?
You're awesome, Lizzie. Thank you.
If you'd like to listen again, tune into Star each Wednesday morning at 10:30 or listen and subscribe via your favourite podcast app and give us a review so others can find us.